Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I am happy, as always, to be with you to talk about some of the weirder aspects of the news of our world. So let's go ahead and jump on in here. You know, I like the weird news stories that involve animals doing strange things. Sometimes it's humans doing very strange, sometimes stupid things involving animals. But there's always animals be doing interesting things in the world. In fact, I just saw a video. My husband posted a video today about pandas. And, well, first of all, it was the pandas are hilarious, the way they just kind of roll around and fall out of things, and I don't know, they're adorable first off, and then they're hilarious. And then the narrator of this video, I don't know who it is, but he sounded maybe Australian, and he kept saying that pandas are basically just drunk all day, and they just get drunk and fall off of things, and you have to see the video, but it's very, very cute. But less cute and a little more on the factor, a caiman was spotted swimming in a Michigan school's pond. Yeah. Okay. I didn't even know there were caiman in Michigan. Is this another transplant? That would be, Do you remember when Heidi and I talked about the emotional support alligator? Was it a crocodile? I think it was emotional support crocodile? Emotional support alligator. I don't remember, but it was an emotional support, very, very large and deadly reptile. At any rate, students and community members are being warned to keep a safe distance from this school's pond, where a quote-unquote alligator-type reptile, or in other words, a caiman, was spotted swimming. Bedford Public Schools said a teacher spotted an alligator-type reptile swimming in the biology pond on campus. That seemed appropriate. But this was on the campus of the Bedford Senior High School and Bedford Junior High School. The district said experts identified the creature as a 3-foot caiman, a relative of the alligator. Okay, so it's not huge, but still, there is an alligator in the biology pond. This sounds like a chapter in, I don't know, Harry Potter or something. Officials said arrangements are being made to remove the caiman from the pond, and students and community members are being warned to keep a safe distance from the water until the creature is relocated. The district said caimans are not native to Michigan, but sometimes are kept as exotic pets, and that would be my guess, which makes me say, come on, people, if you're going to get an exotic pet, think it through. You get a caiman, you're thinking, oh, look at this adorable little baby caiman, because they're tiny when they're little, right? And then they start growing, but you should know what your animal is going to grow into, and don't get an exotic pet and then figure out that you can't take care of it, or you hate feeding it what you have to feed it, and then setting it loose. I mean, it's not good. And then we have caimans swimming around in ponds in Michigan, and Michigan is going to get cold really soon, and that is a cold-blooded creature. It does not need to be swimming in a frozen pond in Michigan. People. Okay, well, hopefully the caiman will be relocated, and he or she will have a happy caiman life somewhere where it's not trying to eat junior high school students. Another animal, this time in Virginia, was rescued. This was a squirrel who was rescued from under the hood of a Virginia State Police car. Animals definitely like to go in places that they shouldn't. But so a Virginia State Police sergeant who heard unusual noises coming from under the hood of her car made, a discovery of a squirrel trapped in her vehicle. The VSP, the Virginia State Police, said the squirrel was rescued from under the hood of the sergeant's car and was found to be uninjured. So our Bristol area sergeant isn't going nuts after all, the state police said. Nice. There really was an animal trapped inside her #VSP patrol car. Fortunately, the squirrel was located unharmed and safely released back into the wild, the police wrote on a Facebook post. Now, I'm glad that she heard the squirrel, because it's not, it's never good to have an animal trapped in your engine. It can be very dangerous for both the animal and the engine, but definitely for the animal. I mean, that would make me sad. That always makes me sad. But it also reminds me of the posts, that say to look around your car, because especially in the winter when the car is warm, from driving, animals will go into it to seek warmth. And that's very important. I'm not mocking that, but I am laughing at the one picture of the cow laying on the hood, and it, the meme says, make sure you check your car to, for animals because they like the warmth. I am not describing things well tonight, but it's still funny. Trust me, okay? Just go with me. Work with me, people. Work with me. Another example of craziness in the animal world, but not because of the animal per se. I mean, I guess that first one was because of the animal, but also probably because a human was mean, rude, weird, dumb, whatever, and let it go. But anyway, this is, this is a story about a bobcat. But, so we start this article with a tweet from CPW SE region, at CPW_SE. And they are replying to CPW at CPW_SE and at CO Parks Wildlife. So this is Colorado. And this is the site that greeted at CO Parks Wildlife Officer Sarah Watson when she responded to a call about an injured bobcat on Wednesday. And there is a picture of a bobcat covered with a towel. Looks very sweet, as, bobcats do before they rip your face off. Big cats, when they have very cute little faces, but they're not cute, and you should not, attempt to approach them. The bobcat was unrestrained in the back of an SUV under a blanket or towel or whatever it is that it's under. And a child's car seat was just feet away. It does not indicate if there was a child in that car seat, but then it says in all capital letters, never pick up wildlife. Well, yeah. Oh, man. So wildlife officials in Colorado are reminding residents that they should not approach wild animals. And this was after the woman picked up the injured bobcat and put it in her vehicle. Nope, with her young child. So it was feet away from her young child. I commend her for her instinct to help the injured animal, but woo. Colorado Parks and Wildlife said the Colorado Springs woman was lucky the bobcat was injured and too fatigued to move when she picked it up from the side of a road Wednesday and put it in her SUV with her young child. Oh, and again, all capital letters, never pick up wild animals. And then in not capital letters, she was lucky, the agency tweeted. An officer who responded to the woman's call discovered she had put the bobcat under a blanket in the back of the vehicle, only feet away from where her child was strapped into a car seat. Officials wrote, "We removed the bobcat, which was mortally wounded. Luckily, it was too injured to react to being picked up and placed in a car, but no one should ever, capital letters, try this. This could have been tragic." It absolutely could have been tragic, and I'm sorry to hear that the bobcat was mortally wounded. And like I said, I commend the woman's instinct to help an injured animal. That's how I would feel, but you do not want to. This one was too tired and fatigued to do anything, but mortally injured can make them even feistier because they're in pain, they're upset, they're in shock, whatever, and they can lash out. And so definitely don't pick up any wildlife, but don't also pick up, definitely don't pick up wounded wildlife, and don't put it in the car with your kids. Don't put your kids on the wildlife to take pictures of them either. I know buffalo look like big cows, but they are not. This was a while back. Actually, there's been more than one bison incident in Yellowstone Park, but come on, people, use your brains. Please use your brains. they are not fuzzy little house cats. They are not cows. They are not whatever it is you're thinking they are. Stay away from the wildlife. Even that squirrel could have, gone crazy and attacked that woman. I don't know. I'm being a little facetious there, but yeah, that's my PSA for the day. Stay away from the wildlife. Definitely don't put it in the car near your kids. Let's take a quick break so I can get off on my soapbox. When we come back, we will be talking about some more weird news. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts. Past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Our next story is an animal story, but thankfully not a animal story as we often get in the world of social media and the internet and all of those good things. But no, this is, and it's about snakes, and I know not everybody is a fan of snakes, but snakes actually are pretty fascinating creatures, and well, the latest thing that seems to be happening is that people are either using Sharpies on regular pictures, or they are using, probably not Sharpies on regular pictures, but they are using Photoshop or whatever to make it look like Sharpies on regular pictures. And so according to this article, which is from Bored Panda, some time ago, a wise person decided to doodle hands on a cute picture of a snake he found. The result was so satisfying, he shared it on the internet. And then the doodle war began. Some time ago, we asked our readers to take part in this war, and we are so glad we did. Snakes don't always have the best reputation and are certainly not the cutest, but it turns out that all they needed were some expressive arms and hands. See, all snakes need to be cute is just a little jazz. They just need jazz hands. Poor snakes were born without jazz hands. So these pictures are hilarious. I mean, there's a snake that is, this first one is, the snake is, it looks like an albino snake, first of all, but it's coiled and it looks like it's going to strike. But then somebody gave it arms with finger guns. And so now, instead of being this snake that is going to bite you and kill you, it is, it's doing a little, hey, kind of thing. And it's pretty fabulous. But according to National Geographic, if you want a little more information, there are more than 3,000 species of snakes on the planet. 3,000 species. Whew. They are found everywhere except Antarctica, Iceland, and Ireland. Antarctica, Iceland, Ireland, Greenland, and New Zealand. About 600 species are venomous, and only about 7% are able to kill or significantly wound a human. Actually, I didn't realize that there were so few on the venomous side when I think of snakes. I mean, that leaves 2,400 non-venomous species of snakes. That's pretty impressive. Non-venomous snakes, which range from harmless garter snakes to the not-so-harmless python, yeah, okay, they can still squeeze you to death, dispatch their victims by swallowing them alive or constricting them to death. Whether they kill by striking with venom or squeezing, nearly all snakes eat their food whole. In sometimes astoundingly large portions. Ugh, thanks, National Geographic. Actually, that is interesting. Okay, a snake on a towel, but somebody drew arms on it, so it looks like it is leaning its chin on its hand, looking kind of bored. A snake Snake says, I need my morning coffee. And when you draw arms and a cup of coffee, the snake just looks completely disgruntled and like it's too early in the morning. Almost all snakes, again, according to National Geographic, are covered in the scales, and as reptiles, they're cold-blooded and must regulate their body temperature externally. Scales serve several purposes. They trap moisture in arid climates, in arid climates, and reduce friction as the snake moves. There have been several species of snakes discovered that are mostly scaleless, but even those have scales on their bellies. Snakes also have forked tongues, which they flick in different directions to smell their surroundings. That's how they know when danger or food is nearby. Oh my gosh. This one is not only got arms on it, but they did little sunglasses. It's a cobra. Little sunglasses and a saxophone. Okay, you really should look at these because I'm not just going to keep describing them to you, but they really are adorable. Who knew? Yeah, you should definitely go to Board Panda and find snakes with arms because, yeah, I think you'll thank me. It's pretty entertaining. But moving on from snakes with arms, because someday you have to move on from snakes with arms, sadly, we are going to talk about Sean Bean. Sean Bean is an actor, if you aren't familiar with him. And it turns out that Sean Bean has been killed 23 times. Not Sean Bean himself. Sean Bean's characters have been killed 23 times. His most maybe well-known roles wherein he was killed. He was Boromir in Lord of the Rings, and he was killed in the first movie of the trilogy. So he didn't even get to go, he didn't even get to continue that quest. Well, I mean, Boromir dies in the first book too. It wasn't just like it was because it was Sean Bean. But he also played Ned Stark in Game of Thrones, and people thought, well, it's Sean Bean. Well, maybe people didn't think because they'd seen Sean Bean roles before, but Ned Stark, dead. So many people on Game of Thrones are dead, though. So Sean Bean, 23 times his character has been killed, and he said that he's started to rethink how he accepts roles. He doesn't want to continue to be killed because he says it's just predictable. People expect him to die. And he made some comment about his character was supposed to die in a role, and he was like, really? No. And they said, well, can he just be severely wounded? So there's even a campaign, hashtag something like Stop Killing Sean Bean. I think that's what it is. Stop Killing Sean Bean. And there's a picture of Sean Bean wearing a shirt with the hashtag, which I think is appropriate. So this is just an example to me of weirdness that shows up on the internet but still makes me smile. I mean, that's the thing with the internet anymore is you get, you notice something. Sean Bean gets killed a lot in his roles. Well, that kind of stinks. But then you realize other people have noticed it too because they have made memes. They have made, things pop up online, and that makes me laugh. So I lost my train of thought, but it does make me laugh. Stop killing Sean Bean. I agree. I like him. But this also makes me think of The Vicar of Dibley, which is a BBC show. If you've ever seen it, it is about a female Anglican priest in the fictional town of Dibley. It was a while ago that it was on, but it's one of my favorite BBC shows, starring Dawn French. And Dawn French, the picture changes in her home, but she is the vicar, the priest in this village, and above her desk in her home she has a picture of Jesus, and next to it a picture of Sean Bean. Sometimes it's other actors, but for a while she had a picture of Sean Bean, and she often talks to Jesus and the celebrity picture simultaneously during the episodes, and it always made me laugh. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Sean Bean simply because of The Vicar of Dibley. Weird? Sure, but hey, you gotta find your fun where you can, right? Okay, we are going to take our second break of the podcast. When we come back, we are going to talk about some viral cottage cheese, which could go in many directions. So you're going to have to come back after the break to find out what is viral about this cottage cheese. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, and I'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. So, cottage cheese. Some people are fans, some people are not. We once had an intern at a place where I worked, a high school intern, nicest, sweetest kid, but he was just horrified by the thought of cottage cheese. So one day when we were out to lunch, he and another coworker ordered some cottage cheese just because neither of them had tried it. So I commend them for trying it. It's kind of, I don't know if it's an acquired taste or if it is just something that you either love or hate. But this is a cottage cheese tub that has gone viral. Not viral, well, actually it might be viral for more than one reason, because it could be filled with, okay, so this is bacteria, not virus, but work with me here. But it went viral online because it was left in an office fridge for 7 years. That's a health hazard, people. So this is these, when you think about office refrigerators, you tend to think about things that get left that are in there past their expiration date. You get the snarky notes about don't steal my food. Then you get the people who steal the food. The office refrigerator is a place of much drama. But this story is from Reddit user JG Bones, also known as Julia from Philadelphia, and she shared the office legend that is a tub of pineapple cottage cheese. Okay, does it have chunks of pineapple in it? I would assume so. I mean, cottage cheese is often served with fruit, but I didn't realize that they made pineapple cottage cheese. I don't get out much. So this little tub of cheesy weirdness has survived in the fridge for 7 years now. Why? Okay, anyway. Happy anniversary to this little tub of pineapple cottage cheese. It has now survived 7 years in our work fridge without being thrown out. I take a picture of it each year, Julia wrote. And there is, in fact, a picture of her with this each year. So Julia said that her secret is that the cheese is indeed hers. She says, I bought it back in 2012, opened it, tasted it, hated it, and threw it in the fridge. So apparently it's low fat and has weird fake pineapple in it. Ew. Okay. It managed to get pushed to the back. I forgot about it. No one touched it. And then sure enough, it managed to survive a whole year with no one touching it. Then it became a joke. No one wanted to throw it out. Have they opened it recently? The cheese is in a tub with the lid on. The seal has been broken, but it's never the perpetrator of any weird odors. We moved offices earlier this year, and now we have more room, 2 fridges, no smells, and we're a happy family. Besides, everyone respects the cheese. It has been there a long time. I admire their commitment, but wow, again, I'm just wondering, there's no smells. Clearly they aren't opening it, I'm thinking, because it would definitely smell if you opened it. Julia is waiting for the right time to open up the cheese or throw it away, either when she leaves the job or it hits 10 years residence in the fridge. Or maybe I'll bestow it on another colleague, she adds with a laugh. I haven't opened it since I bought it, so I wonder what it looks like inside. My boyfriend is incredibly against it staying in the fridge at home, so it's got a bunch of Post-it notes saying, don't toss, and everyone here in the office knows not to touch it. And there's a close-up of the cottage cheese container with the expiration date, which was September 17th, 2012. Wow, non-fat pineapple cream cheese, or cottage cheese. Interesting. Oh, the first comment makes me laugh. I'm depressed to think that a container of cottage cheese lasted longer at a company than I ever did. Oh, I'm sorry. That is sad, but also kind of funny. Finally, we shall talk about the fact that today is Talk Like a Pirate Day. every year, September 19th, Talk Like a Pirate Day. And I was never fully sure why it was September 19th, but it turns out that this was created by two men from Oregon, two Oregonians, and they created it because they were playing a game of racquetball. Of course, doesn't that make sense? So this is from Albany, Oregon, and the holiday, which is known as Talk Like a Pirate Day, was started during a game of racquetball between two friends. The quote is, "We started taunting each other with pirate phrases like, 'Arr, that be a fine cannonade,' and 'You slapped that one off me missing mast, matey.'" Can't even say that. We had so much fun doing this game with pirate words that we decided there ought to be one day in every year where every man, woman, and child is encouraged to talk like a pirate, said Mark Summers, otherwise known as Captain Slappy. Of course he is. And there's a picture of the two of them in their pirate gear, looking very festive and entertaining. So he and his friend, John Bauer, Old Chumbucket, as he's otherwise known, played the game on June 6th, but knew since it was D-Day, that day was off limits. So we settled on September 19th, which was my ex-wife's birthday. We weren't being mean. The date was just stuck in my head, said Summers. And it stuck for around. I mean, for the first 7 years, the holiday was observed by close friends. It was really simple. It was like about 4 or 5 friends all knew about it, and we would call each other at work and talk like a pirate day and go arg and hang up, and that was the extent of Talk Like a Pirate Day back then. 7 years later, they pitched the idea to a columnist at the Miami Herald. After his column was printed, the holiday took off. Pretty soon, Mark and John were getting phone calls from all over. Summers said, "We're getting interviews with media outlets from Australia to the BBC, New Zealand, Ireland, Denmark, South America. We were hearing from everywhere from people who were just excited to be playing pirate." Never expecting it to become what it is today, Summers says he's happy to be a part of a somewhat cult holiday. "We gave the pirate community a Christmas. This is their holiday. It's been kind of fun to be the Santa to a whole new celebration." That is awesome. I have never thought, I always think about how the holidays get started because, as I've said before, there are multiple holidays on every day of the year. If you ever go to one of those calendar sites and look at the holidays, you will see that there are just a million holidays. And so I always kind of wonder how they get started. And it's fun to know the backstory of this fun pirate day. In conclusion, I will say that tomorrow is September 20th because today is September 19th, Talk Like a Pirate Day. And it's the day we're supposed to, I don't mean me, I'm not going, but the day that people are supposed to be storming Area 51. And you know that there will be reporting on what actually happened because there's going to be news stories. There's going to be stories. Who knows if anything will actually happen, but there will be stories regardless of people. You know, they'll be there. They'll be looking out for people to storm Area 51. There will probably be food trucks or something. I don't even know. I know they were talking about doing a festival at one point. I'm not sure that ever came about, but hey, as always, I will bring you that news next time on the next episode because we need to know what happened at Area 51 on September 20th. So please join me for the next episode of the GSMC Weird News Podcast. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend and stay weird.